What happened was early, I don't know, maybe in the first or second year that I served in Congress, I found out that my picture and name had been placed on the World Economic Forum's website under this category they have listed as Young Global Leaders.
Hey, what's up, folks? So people have been wondering for a while, is Tulsi Gabbard working with the World Economic Forum? Why was she on the website? And she's finally answered some of those questions.
And I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, they have different people of different political parties and from around the world that are on this website. I was never asked to join, and I was never informed by them that they had put my name and picture on their website. And I honestly didn't know that much about it.
I think her answer was pretty solid, and respect for taking it head on. We'll listen to the full clip and react to it live. Some other users have also been bringing up the tweet from 2015 where she tweeted, "World Economic Forum, I'm honored to be selected as 2015's Young Global Leader Voices representing Hawaii amongst leaders from around the world," with some graphs involved. Is this consistent with her answer? Should people be allowed to change from 2015? Do you buy it? We'll talk about it. We're also going to revisit a clip of Dan Crenshaw talking about the Great Reset and World Economic Forum stuff. His answer was interesting.
Sort of danced around the topic of the World Economic Forum, the Great Reset. We've talked about a little about the COVID conspiracy to shut everything down. We got the border issue at hand.
Yeah.
Where do you see the Great Reset right now, and then where's it going over the next four to 6 years?
I don't know if I danced around it. I just don't know anything about it.
There are a lot of subjects that touch the Great Reset, or at least the philosophy of the Great Reset.
And then lastly, we're going to end with Kyrie Irving being dropped from Nike weeks after his sharing an Amazon link on Instagram. The saga continues. Should be a great live. We start now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining today. And we have two stories. The first one is Tulsi Gabbard has finally addressed the World Economic Forum question. A lot of people are wondering, is she the real deal? She's come out as more conservative, more bipartisan recently. She's been part of the DNC. I believe she was the vice chair, the vice president. She's been in the Council of Foreign Relations, and also she's been on the website for the World Economic Forum. And we've talked about it for a while. But without further ado, let's listen to Miss Gabbard's response, and we can all decide for ourselves. I'll play a clip. Let me know what you think, and if you wait till the end to tell me, I might read your comment aloud. I just can't see it for the first 10 minutes of the stream, so let's watch.
What happened was early, I don't know, maybe in the first or second year that I served in Congress, I found out that my picture and name had been placed on the World Economic Forum's website under this category they have listed as Young Global Leaders. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, they have different people of different political parties and from around the world that are on this website. I was never asked to join, and I was never informed by them that they had put my name and picture on their website. And I honestly didn't know that much about it. But people have said, oh, well, what did you learn by graduating from Klaus Schwab's Young Global Leaders Academy or all this stuff? And it's just, it's unfortunate that there's a lot of, I don't know, false assumptions being made, I guess. It's an organization, I've never gone to any of their shenanigans. That's a good word. I've never gone to any of their events. I didn't graduate from any, I've literally not had anything to do with the World Economic Forum. And the reason why people are concerned about this is actually very important. And I'm glad to just make clear that there is no connection between me and the World Economic Forum. You know, the World Economic Forum is essentially pushing this, and Klaus Schwab and Glenn Beck wrote a whole book about this for those who want more information. But basically, they're pushing this super globalist agenda where you have corporate powers of like the most wealthy of the wealthy attempting to create whatever they want to call it, some new world order, set the rules for the world that supersede and undermine the sovereignty of countries, undermining our democracy, essentially. And that's really what is so dangerous. And their intent, of course, They claim to know what is best for us more than we know ourselves. And why wouldn't they, these multi-billionaires? But the danger of it is exactly that they are trying to set the rules for the world and build some kind of utopian future in their own mind, but undermining our voices and our sovereignty as a country. I think that's the best way I can put it in a nutshell.
So all credit to Dr. Drew and his podcast or whatever that is, because he's the one who got that story. I'm glad he asked her. Somebody asked her. A lot of people in the comments, I'm reading them now. I did kind of switch over so I could see real quick. A lot of people seem like they don't believe her. I thought, on one hand, if you're on the website, that doesn't necessarily mean you work for them. I do want to point this out real quick, two things, because this is a screenshot I have right here. This is her in 2015. Says she tagged the World Economic Forum. I'm honored to be selected 2015 Young Global Leaders Voices representing Hawaii amongst leaders from around the world. So I'm not saying she's inconsistent, but I am saying, she did know about it to tweet it, or somebody from her camp tweeted it. And I think in the video, it sounded like she was like, I didn't even know I was on the website, but that doesn't seem to be true, because she tweeted like that she was glad that she was on the website. So, I will say this, I'll try to be as fair as I can. And then we're going to listen to what Dan Crenshaw said about it, because it was a lot worse. I do like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Being in politics is just a crazy world anyway. Before the last couple of years, I would say most politicians would think that it was good to be on the World Economic Forum website, because that puts them in this higher status on a global scale or whatever. She is actually talking about it, which I appreciate, but I do still have some questions. I think one that someone brought up to me on Twitter, I'm glad that you guys brought this up. This was her in 2020. Tulsi Gabbard ends presidential run and endorses Joe Biden. I just want to read this real quick. It said from this article from 2020, Tulsi Gabbard suspended her campaign for president. In a Twitter video, she posted this. It's clear that Democratic primary voters have chosen Vice President Joe Biden to be the person who will take on President Trump in the general election, she said, adding that I'm confident that he will lead our country guided by the spirit of aloha, respect, and compassion, and thus help heal the divisiveness that has been tearing our country apart. So, in my perspective, although Trump and Biden are both, not everybody's favorite person, it was always obvious Biden was going to do more mandates. It was always obvious that Biden was probably going to print even more money than Republicans. It was always obvious we were going to have less liberty under Democrats. So you didn't know that in 2020? She didn't know that Biden was going to be a disaster? That's like a big shocker. I mean, if you're really for freedom, I think Biden and his administration, it was always obvious that they were going to lock down harder, force mask more, force mandate vaccines. And even though Trump isn't annoying to me now, and I don't fully trust him, I still defend my vote because I felt like it was the better option. So, there's going to be some question marks for sure because of her answer. I'll say this before we move on to the Crenshaw explanation and what he said. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt sometimes, because I personally do understand that when you're in politics, and just because they put you on a website doesn't mean you're like hanging out with Klaus Schwab, like they might have just chosen you. I don't think she graduated from a university or anything, but she is connected and she did tweet about it. So that seemed a little inconsistent with her answer. And, everybody deserves a chance to, come out of the shadows and be a force of light. The thing is, I think, which I agree with people that don't trust her, is she seems like a nice lady, but we have to ask questions to our politicians. I'm glad she took it head on. I'm glad she addressed it. But, if I were to interview, I'd ask her a follow-up question of, you came out and said you didn't really know about it, but at the same time you tweeted about it, seems a little inconsistent. And also, you did endorse Joe Biden, which seems like it wasn't that long ago. It was just 2 years ago, and he's screwing over a lot of things. So, it's like, the question I would have for her would be like, who are you really? Should we trust you? I like you. You seem nice, but, people still have questions. And, I don't know. You say all the right things like most politicians, but a lot of people still have some question marks. So overall, I have some question marks. The answer sounded good until I realized she tweeted about it, and she did she was the vice president of the DNC. So I think further scrutiny is appreciated. I wanted to show you guys some pictures. I mean, people will probably, tear these the wrong way, even though I criticized her. But, this is me and her. Look at the way she's looking at me. This is like, I'm like, are you part of the World Economic Forum? And she's like, look it. She knows what time it is. She's like, what is Anomaly saying? I met her at a Hawaii. I just thought it was funny. I met her in Hawaii at a town hall. I was out there. My friend, who's like a big Bernie guy, he was like, dude, Tulsi's having a town hall. So, this is when I'm like, Tulsi, are you just another one of these puppets? Or are you the real deal? She's like, tell me more, Anomaly. Tell me how to avoid the CFR in the world. I'm like, I'll tell you, Tulsi. Just keep looking into my eyes like that. But no, jokes aside, I believe she's married. God bless. No disrespect. I just thought it was funny. Anyway, my friend said there was a town hall in Hawaii, so I went. It was open forum for anyone there. And what I wanted to ask her at the time when I attended, unfortunately, they didn't get to me. I stood in line to ask a question, but they didn't get to me. The question I had for her was going to be about Syria, because even though she was a Democrat at the time, she had agreed with Trump on Syria, and she also revealed that, we were arming and abetting terrorists in Syria, which I thought was very brave of her, which it was. So someone said I have a crush. No, I'm not trying to disrespect her stuff. I just thought it's a funny picture, in general. And she's a nice lady, but, I agree with people. It's like, why did you endorse Joe Biden? That's sketchy. You said you didn't know about the young global leaders, but you tweeted about it. I'm not going to sit here and hate on you, but at the same time, the people of the world have some question marks, and I think rightfully so. I'm a big believer, before we played the Dan Crenshaw thing, I'm a big believer that politicians, whether it be Trump, DeSantis, Crenshaw, Gabbard, no matter how likable they are or not, they're your best friend. They're nice. They look at you with those nice eyes. Whatever it is, I think at the end of the day, we need to ask them more questions, because politicians are like car salesmen. They tell you what you want to hear. Trump will tell you what you want to hear. Tulsi will tell you what you want to hear. They're so good at playing both sides. Ted Cruz, Jim Jordan, they're your best friend. They're just like you, except then they go and talk to a lobbyist, and they're just like the lobbyist. And then they come out to you and say, I'm just like you, Operation Warp Speeder. That's they're professional car salesmen. And a lot of people don't realize that the same way the car salesman and the, realtor, yeah, they might kind of like you, but at the end of the day, they want to sell more cars. They're not really concerned with what you're dealing with. They want you to buy a car. So it's their job to make you feel like you're your best friend. So they sell a car or sell a house. That's just the way the industry works. Politics is the same, but for some reason, maybe because of TV programming and Obama and Trump and, Hillary and the villain and the hero, and she's the hero and the villain and the villain, everybody's got a hero and a villain. We're like Marvel brainwashed or something in this country. Everybody thinks that politicians are their best friend. Like, oh, Trump's so bad, so Biden might save me, or Biden's so bad, it must be Trump, or Tulsi's the real deal now, or she's not. I'm not saying they're heroes or villains. I'm just saying they're car salesmen for the most part. And once the people wake up and ask tough questions, thank you, Dr. I call him Dr. Doo-Doo because he had some bad COVID takes, but we'll call him Dr. Drew. We'll give him some respect. Dr. Doo-Doo Drew, semi-respect. I don't know. It's just funny. But in general, thank you for asking that question we've all been wondering. And I think, the people need to question politicians more, not less. Even if you like Tulsi or even if you like Trump, we got to ask them real questions and not just we can't just, they're going to want to play this game, and listen, they're going to play this game and just say, what? And they want me to be like, Operation Warp Speed is secretly a good thing. And it's okay that you voted for Biden. They want me to play that game, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to fall for the, I'm going to have to be like, listen, you're a nice lady. Trump, you're a nice guy. You're cool. You own golf courses. You're the man. But why did you print $6 trillion? Or, how do you get to the vice chair of the DNC? I mean, that seems pretty wild. Like, you made it pretty high up the ranks. So let the American people know why they should trust you, especially conservatives who were tired of people coming into the party that, act like our best friend and end up being, like a sneaky version of Bernie Sanders kind of. So without further ado, let's play the clip of Dan Crenshaw, who I think answered it even worse than Tulsi. I mean, this guy I don't trust like an ounce.
Sort of danced around the topic of the World Economic Forum, the Great Reset. We've talked about a little about the COVID conspiracy to shut everything down. We got the border issue at hand. Yeah. Where do you see the Great Reset right now, and then where's it going over the next 4 to 6 years?
I don't know if I danced around it. I just don't know anything about it.
There are a lot of subjects that touch the Great Reset, or at least the philosophy of the Great Reset.
Yeah, I just don't know much about it.
Okay.
And I don't care either. I think we're obsessing over it on the right a little bit. And look, I have been to the website and I saw, this is why people are saying that, because I did look into that. Okay, they say something about a Great Reset. I don't look into it any more than that. Look, it's a bunch of people. It's an organization that has no real power. I mean, yeah, look, there's always going to be people that maybe. I think what they mean by Great Reset is the same thing the Democrats are always saying about what kind of infrastructure they want to invest in, redistribution of wealth, that kind of thing, more open immigration. I mean, it's what you think it is, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think when you call it the Great Reset, it sort of indicates that there's like a secret, power cabal under it all.
Yeah.
And it's not so secret. It's just the Democrat Party. So, again, I just want us to take a step back. It's not a conspiracy. It is a political platform.
Sure.
But we sound a little crazy when we start talking about some sort of secret cabal. Just fight the Democrats. It's the same thing.
All credit to Rich Walker, whoever's clip that was. Ha 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 ha! It's just the Democrats, guys. Don't look over here. We're not selling out the country too. I mean, they could never have infiltrated the Republicans. I mean, it's just this conspiracy theory. I mean, it just sounds crazy. It's like, bro. First of all, Klaus Schwab wrote a book that you could read, Dan, if you want. You could borrow it from me. I'll mail it to you. It's called COVID-19, The Great Reset. And it is actually a lot deeper than the Democrats, because it is actually a global thing. It's a lot deeper than one political party in America. I mean, you crazy kooks. I mean, it's what you think it is. I mean, it's just the Democrats, like this global cabal. I mean, oh my gosh, these people are so fake. Listen, Tulsi, her answer was better than that. I'm not saying you should trust her. It was definitely more car salesman-y, but Crenshaw, that guy is just the worst. I don't trust that guy at all. He's one of the most deceitful people in the Republican Party. But yeah, it's not crazy. And I understand, it's not like the World Economic Forum. I don't think that's if you're diving into the rabbit hole, I don't think the bottom of the rabbit hole is World Economic Forum, but it's definitely a layer. It's not like they control everything, but at the same time, it is a place where pretty much what Tulsi said, to be honest, corporations, billionaires, countries, global leaders, donors, they all come and they all talk about their agenda. And most of the time they share the same agenda. And most of the time what they talk about at Davos ends up happening. And it's actually not a conspiracy theory or coincidence. It's when you bring together the richest people and they talk about what they want to do, a lot of times they have so much money that they're able to do exactly what they say. And when you bring the leaders from all countries together and you lobby half the world, and then the world does what they say at the World Economic Forum, it's not a kooky conspiracy theory. It's just that's how things work. You bring enough power and money and leadership together, they will do exactly what they said they'll do, because they have the power and resources and finances to do it. So, that guy, his answer was way worse than Tulsi's. But I agree with the people in the comments, to be honest, that at the end of the day, we need to be nice and compassionate and thoughtful. Don't be evil or hateful or anything like that. But we can't softball anybody. Certainly not Crenshaw, not Tulsi, not DeSantis, not Trump. Nobody. We can't just softball these people, because they're playing a game with us. And even our favorite ones are playing along. Robert with the super chat said, listen to the words used, the body language displayed, and the eye movements change conspiracy collusion. Bill Cooper once stated, you will see everything as a lie. You will not see the truth. Bill Cooper is definitely a legend. Rest in peace. With that being said, I want to talk about the last story. And then I want to read some of your comments. The last story was about Kyrie Irving. He lost his Nike deal today. This is weeks after, the situation. Kyrie Irving is a lot different than Ye. I'm not disrespecting either of them, but Kyrie Irving barely said or did anything. Ye is out here going scorched earth. You know what I'm saying? He's calling out basketball players, elites. like he's going the distance. I'm not saying he deserves what came to him either. I don't think it does. But Ye is in this like scorched earth, like I'm fighting the world and I'm doing with Jesus. Kyrie didn't even really do anything. He tweeted he tweeted or Instagram post or both an Amazon documentary link. Amazon's got a deal with the NBA. Amazon doesn't get in trouble. Kyrie gets in trouble. He's a super nice guy. He's one of these guys that's all about peace, love, positivity. He definitely has some sort of like, I'm the real Jew, or we were kings, and like black power, my people. He's doing what millions of black people do, which is fine. I'm not going to tell him who he is. If that's his zone that he's in, then it doesn't affect me. I'm just being honest. Like, more power to it, as long as you're a nice person to people. And it seems like Kyrie's really a really nice guy. So the fact that they're taking down, his Nike deal, it's only kind of proving people right. When Dave Chappelle said, he said Kanye got in so much trouble that Kyrie got in trouble. He should have said Ye, because Ye was mad that he called him Kanye. But in general, he's like, he got in so much trouble, you guys are getting Kyrie in trouble. So let me know what you guys think. But we don't talk about that group anymore. We call them the individuals. So that's the new branding here. We don't talk about groups ever. There is no New York Giants. They're just a bunch of football players who happen to wear the same shirts. There is no New York Knicks. They just all dress the same and they're individuals. There's no Democrats. They just all happen to have the same ideology and work for the same party, but there is no party. There's no Republicans. DeSantis and Trump are just individuals who happen to have an elephant on their shirt. And there certainly is no, group of people that starts with a J. So we just call them the individuals now. But, in general, I don't think it's helping out the individuals from like staying cloaked in their power that doesn't exist. Because when you crack down this hard on Kyrie, like, what message are you really sending? They allow politics and racial talk. This is all when I talk to Luke or Puke or whatever his name is from the Tim Tool show, all those people, when I was kind of going at them, I'm just asking for consistency, where it's like, in general, if you say you can't talk about groups, then let's not do it. Okay, but you do that all the time. You just don't want to talk about that. And when it comes to the NBA, if the NBA said no activism, no links, no documentaries, then I'd be like, all right, they don't have freedom. They just have to do that. But they can dress up in rainbow flags, looking like Richard Simmons on a workout video. They can wear Black Lives Matter shirts. In fact, they have to, or else they're called racist. And they do all sorts of activism. But the second they do something outside of the activist left-wing bubble, all of a sudden, they can't do it. So you can't even make a gay joke that's offensive, or else they'll fine you. They fined Jokic and I forget the other player from the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony. I can't think of his name anyway, but not Russell, but the other guy. Anyway, this is the league. So, and this is the thing with like groups of people that hide themselves behind ethnic groups. And I think, I'm actually having a debate or a conversation. It's going to be great. There is a Israeli YouTuber named Rudy Rockman who has been like fighting anti-Semitism. He thinks that Dave Chappelle made jokes that were anti-Semitic and he shouldn't make jokes like that. He's a nice guy. I think we'll get along, but we have very different views. I believe free speech will heal the world. He thinks that everything's anti-Semitic and it shouldn't be said. So we're going to have a really thrilling debate here on my channel on Thursday or Friday, because we got to do Israeli time to America time and link it up. But I really want to have this conversation about this, debate, because I think it's important and it should be great to have a counter to what I'm saying to really figure it out. But I don't know, what they're doing with Kyrie, and I feel like they're mistreating him. So let me know what you guys think. I had more to say, but I kind of lost my spot. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I think, I remember what I was going to say. Then I'll get to the comments. I don't care about ethnicity that much when it comes to like, this, that, like, it doesn't bother me, or I don't like, it's not like my whole life doesn't revolve around ethnic groups. So if I lived in a world where no one else cared and everything was normal, then I wouldn't talk about it. The only reason I call out the hypocrisy is because when you look at certain groups, if you're white, quote unquote white, whatever you want to call yourself, you can't really organize. If you ever organize under the interests of your own race, they call you a nationalist or a racist, or, you're not allowed to even exist. You're only allowed to exist as white if you just hate yourself. Like, the only time you could say I'm white, you can't say I'm white and I like it. You got to be like, I hate myself. I wish Like, you can only identify yourself to hate yourself. When it comes to Black and Jewish, I don't care if you are a Black group or a Jewish group. Who am I to tell you what you are? I don't care if you're Black and you say you're Jewish, or you're Jewish and you say you're Black. It doesn't affect my day to day. I don't really matter. But the point that I've noticed is if a Black group gets together and they say, we are the Black vote, these are for our interests, and we're going to have millions of people voting and lobbying for our racial interests, well, that's your group then. Your tribe is that, because that's what your life revolves around. But then if you point to that tribe, they call you a racist. And it's the same thing with Jewish stuff. They do the same thing as Black groups do, which is fine, where they lobby for their own interests. But if you say that they're doing that, they call you anti-Semitic. So the playing field is very rigged. And I don't care, because it's just the truth what I'm saying. It's there's no hateful bone in my body about it. It's just like, you're not going to stop hate for your group when you only identify to praise yourself and do backwards activism. But the second someone challenges you, you want to scatter and say you don't even exist. Just be consistent. I'm not going to blame some random guy in the street for what the ADL is doing. And I'm not going to blame Brandon Tatum for what BLM is doing. But there are millions of people that are identifying as these groups. And then when you point to the group, they are like, what? So what do you want me to do? Do you want me to get on my knees and just say, you're amazing? Everything you've ever done is right. Like, Black Lives Matter is healing the world. The ADL stopping anti-Semitism, and like the whole world's perfect. It's not even true. They're not doing a good job. I don't think they're doing a good job. Just like I don't think some Republican groups are doing a good job. But this is the whole game that they're playing, is they identify for their own racial interests as, this is what we want. And then when you point to what they're doing, they just say, don't point to us. It's like, it's not like I just woke up and just thought you were organized together. You absolutely are organized together. So, the hypocrisy is obvious. And I think, truth will set us free. And in America, we can't give up the First Amendment, because I believe that the more you censor people and the more you call them mean names, the more hateful they get. So I'm excited to have a debate with Rudy Rockman, because he seems like a nice guy. We seem to have a lot of mutual friends or followers. And, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing and debating. And we don't agree on free speech. I believe in the First Amendment and comedy. And I've seen his videos, and he thinks that it's anti-Semitic to say too much stuff. So, I think we both have good intentions, and should be a good conversation. He said Wednesday. I don't know, Thursday, Friday. He's on Israel time because he lives in Israel. So I'm not quite sure. Like, the time zone is so different. It might be Wednesday. It might be Thursday. It might be Friday. I'm not 100% sure. So look out for that, though. I think it's going to be great. And I'm going to come in with a pure heart. And you know me, I got no hate in my heart. I have some questions, Let's see. I'm going to read some comments. What do you guys think about the Kyrie situation? What do you think about the Tulsi Gabbard video? What do you think about Cran Denshaw? I'm not going to say Dan Crenshaw. We'll say Cran Denshaw, like a box of crayons. Let me know what you think about any of the top stories. I'm going to read some comments. Someone said he lives in individual, like individual in Israel. That's pretty creative. I like a good wordplay. Someone said the ADL is acting like a mob entity and making Jewish people look bad. Well, there's a lot of Jewish people that don't look like the ADL. Just like there's Black people that don't like Black Lives Matter. Everybody's not responsible. It's just, it's worth talking about for sure. Definitely there are patterns. This is where I'm not like a hateful person, but like most Black people vote Democrat. That's a fact. Most Jewish people vote Democrat. That's a fact. So when they organize as a group, it doesn't mean every Jewish person agrees with it. It just means that most of that group tends to think that way and vote that way. And then a lot of times the ones who don't act like Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager. And there's very few, Roseanne Barrs or some of my friends who are really breaking the narrative. So it doesn't mean everyone's responsible. Of course not. But there's, there are certain trends and patterns. Like, men of all ethnic groups, like men vote more Republican. Women tend to vote more Democrat. There's reasons for that. You could say it's sexist. Why do men vote more Republican and why do women vote more Democrat? I believe it's because men tend to be, have more like fight warrior in them, more logical. I'm not saying women aren't logical, but a lot of times women are, they're different. And that's okay. It's like they birth a baby out of their body. I mean, it's incredible. So I think women just have a different kind of tendency to, kind of get tricked by emotional narratives more, and like, I'm not saying all women or all men. There's some Democrat men, but on average, there are patterns, like statistically, like that's just the truth. Like, as long as you're not hateful about it, I don't see a problem with talking about it. That's why they do polling, by the way. Like, they'll be like, "Oh, that's so bad." Like, why do you think they do polling? When they do polling, they're like, "Black people on average voted this way. 30-year-olds voted this way. Gen Z voted this way. Women voted this way." Like, oh, but you're so racist and sexist and anti-Semitic if you point it out. Oh, there are no groups. What then? If there's no groups, why do they always poll? Like, it's just statistics, You're just adding up the stats. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but there's something going on, right? Or else why even like tally that stuff up? They do it for statistical reasons. Like, every business does statistics too. Like, what age group are buying our product? What is it, a man or a woman? Everybody wants to know statistics. And the reason they do this in business is the more you know, the more data you have, the more you can make. The more you know about your audience, where they shop, who they are, what age they are, what gender they are, the more you make. So why would that work in business? But in politics, it just doesn't exist. Like, this is why politically correct people are falling behind, and looking dumb, because every sensible person gets it. When am I joining the Yay campaign? I've made a personal thing to, regardless of who asks me from what side, I want to stay 100% independent in 2023, 2024, even now. I don't want to have to feel a certain way about the election. I want to be able to speak my mind about Yay, Trump, DeSantis. So I'm not joining anyone's campaign. I'm not interested in politics. So, if I like what DeSantis or Trump's doing, I'm going to say it. If I like what Ye's doing, I'll say it. I'm not going to join his campaign, but maybe I'll interview him at a certain point, possibly. That's a possibility. But I'm not joining the campaign. That's not my role. Yeah, Milo's out of the campaign, I think. Someone said, I want to see Nick and Shapiro debate. It would be an amazing debate, but Shapiro has been ducking Nick Fuentes for years. I've been saying this since 2019. I love debates. I love to be challenged. Nick Fuentes and Ben Shapiro should absolutely debate. It's a great debate, but I'm telling you, he would expose Ben Shapiro. Not because Ben's so bad and Nick's so great, but it's just the truth is Nick's a lot less politically corrective, and he knows the hypocrisy in Shapiro. I think he would torch Shapiro, and I think Shapiro knows he would torch him. So he runs away and cries hate speech. I think Ben handpicks his debates with like very weak people to just look smart. But yeah, I would love to see them debate too. I think it's great. It would be great if he could debate Sam Harris and Cenk Uygur. Why not debate that guy? Someone said Milo is sick setting up Trump. I don't know if that was a setup or not. I mean, you could think so, but this is my perspective. I'm happy that happened, not because I want something to happen to Trump, but that meeting exposes who the Republicans are. Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un. That's fine. He was the president. Donald Trump met with Bill Gates. Donald Trump met with Bill Gates, gave him a position. Bill Gates declined, and then Donald Trump did Bill Gates' bidding through executive order. So Trump can meet with Kim Jong-un, nothing wrong with it. He can meet with, Bill Gates, no one cares. He can meet with pharmacy lobbyists, that's fine. But he can't meet with Ye and Nick Fuentes. I mean, this shows you who the Republican Party is. They're hypocrites. They gatekeep their own party and they do nothing. So, I don't want Trump to get in trouble for the meeting, but just the fact that Trump is getting in trouble for the meeting and he has to condemn it, it should show you who the Republican Party really is. Whether Ye's purposely doing it or not, this is revealing everything. Most of these, I've told people for years, these conservative, talk about the group, talk about the individual. Dude, no one talks about individuals. Yeah, like that person, that person, that person. But then you group people together. Those are the Democrats. That's the Giants. Like, yes, Saquon Barkley is not, Daniel Jones, but they are on the same team. So it's not anti-Giant Semitic or something to say that they're the New York Giants. Like, there are teams, and the thing that you'll find in certain ethnic groups is the most tribal people are the ones who get most mad when you talk about their tribe and criticize them. They act like their tribe only exists to further their interests, but they don't want any sort of blowback to what they're doing. It's obvious. I'm not, I like to kind of stay in my own zone, but I call it like I see it. Like, it's just the truth. Let's see. Someone said DeSantis is crypto established. I've never heard that, but we'll see. Um, let's see. Someone said Milo is, I'm not going to read gossip. I don't really know what's going on. Someone said the DNC and the GOP are two heads of the same snake. I think so. And this is the energy of this stream and the rest. These people need to be challenged. Donald Trump needs to be challenged. Tulsi Gabbard needs to be challenged. Ron DeSantis needs to be challenged. Dan Crenshaw needs to be challenged. We can't, like, these guys are not doing good enough to act like they deserve a red carpet. The country is not doing well. Inflation's hitting, and here's the big secret. It's not just Democrats. Democrats are blowing it, but also Republicans imploding the economy in 2020 paved the way for this inflation. So they're not doing, Crenshaw, Trump, DeSantis, Tulsi, they're not doing good enough that we can all just sit and clap and be like, they don't need to be challenged. They absolutely need to be challenged. Almost every city's in shambles. The Republican Party blew it last year. They sucked up to Big Pharma. He employed a bunch of bad people. DeSantis is doing a good job in Florida, but he's not above scrutiny. So I don't know who told Republicans that. This is why I don't like most conservative influencers. They're like, Democrats bad. Like they do what Crenshaw did. Oh, the World Economic Forum is Democrats. It's not the Republicans. It is the Republicans too. So let's stop playing the game of we need to go to TPUSA concerts and clap like they're the Beatles. Like, ask some tough questions. Challenge your side. They are serving you. They're not, this is not a rock show. Ted Cruz is a public servant, okay? They're not doing good enough to get this type of praise. So let's challenge our own side, because the whole scam and scheme of politics is the left fights the right fights the left. They've been doing it for 40 years. Nothing's been done. The country's going the wrong way, and nobody seems to know, oh, but Trump's going to be different. But Obama's going to be different. They're not that different. What don't people get? They're not that different. But no, Trump's my favorite, but DeSantis is my, who cares? I like Tulsi. Great. Awesome. I like her too. Look at the way she looks at me. Anomaly. Just don't ask me tough questions. Don't ask me about Council of Foreign Relations. Don't ask me about the World Economic Forum. Don't ask me about DNC. And I say, Tulsi, I like you as a friend, as a whatever you are, but I have to ask the tough questions. I'm here for God. I'm here for the country. I'm not here to go to a meeting. Don't let these people woo you into, it. You don't have to be mean about it. You don't have to be hateful about it, but just be honest. Be like, listen, I'm not impressed with what the DNC has done over the last 10 years. And I'm not impressed with what the Republican Party did in the last 10 years. I'm not impressed what the Trump administration did. And I don't think he's learned a damn thing. So let's not softball these people, no matter. But the thing is, Trump looks at a bunch of conservatives like this and they fall in love. You see me, I'm like, listen, I got to do my job still. Trump looks at people this way and they're like, oh, I guess I can't ask him questions anymore. I guess I got to just be a bootlicker now. I guess I got to just go to Mar-a-Lago and play patty cakes with everybody. Sure, go to Mar-a-Lago, have a beautiful dinner. It's beautiful. But, this is what a lot of people have done. They've created their own economy. So have I with my social media. It's like I make money from my videos. It's no secret. The difference is I'm just letting you know I'm not going to be lobbied by any campaign, whether it's Ye, Trump, Tulsi Gabbard. I'm doing my job regardless. When it comes to other people, I don't think they're necessarily bad people. They've just allowed, like, it's like high school where you get invited, you get money. Why? They don't care. You know what I'm saying? They don't care that prices are up, or they don't care that, the Republican Party falls short, because they're in on the economy. They're becoming the new Paul Ryans. They're becoming the new Marco Rubios and Ted Cruz's and Jim Jordan's, the new placekeepers, the new, just say what everyone wants to hear, but really do nothing. It's the right-wing NPC, the non-playable character. They know every catchphrase, but when push comes to shove, they're nowhere to be found. So, challenge these people in the same way that people challenge me. Like when I post Elon things, when I like Elon, people are always like, I don't like him. That's fine. You don't have to, Let's see. If you get on radio, you make millions. Who listens to radio anymore? I guess some people, but I'm right where I need to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm not in a rush to get anywhere else than where I am right now. Everything will happen when it needs to happen. If they want me on radio, they can put me on. I think Ron Paul was genuine. He for sure was genuine. It's just look how far that got him as far as media time, etc. Ron Paul was definitely one of the good ones. Brandon said, I trust Ye way more than I trust Trump. I hear you. I think right now Ye is more authentic and Trump is more old and gatekeeping his power. And honestly, I think he lost a few steps, and I think his stubbornness is preventing him. But, we'll see. My opinion doesn't matter. We'll see. Let's see. Someone said the Great Reset. Hey, that's just a conspiracy theory. It's not a book written by Klaus Schwab that you could buy on Amazon. Oh, wait, it is actually a book that you could read. Someone said Alex Jones was right. About what? He said a lot of stuff. I guess you'd have to specify. But that's like the saying. Let me see. Trump owes the bank, so he must obey. I've heard that theory before, that he owed the Rothschilds money. I don't know if that's true or not, but someone had said that he owed money to banks or something, that they bailed him out. I've heard that before. Thomas Paine said leftists are feminine people who want a matriarchal society. Rightists are masculine people who want a patriarchal society. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think it's a generalization, but I kind of agree. I think, people have brought that up, like the mommy and daddy. Daddy says no, mommy says yes. That's not always true. My mom was tough on me, but you get what I'm saying. It's more like, I want to give everyone heroin needles. It's like, and then it's like, you can't give people heroin needles, but I want to, mommy, but I want there to be poop all over the streets because that's freedom. It's like, people are free to poop on the streets of San Francisco, but they're not free to take off a medicine mask and not get a vaccine to play, for the Golden State Warriors. Sorry, my nose itches. I apologize. This is very unprofessional, but I'm a human being. My nose itches. Let's see. Someone said this is all biblical. How about touching on that anomaly? Well, I think everything's biblical, but I'm not one to predict the end times, because and I've said this before, but Christians always think it's the end times. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we're in the realm, but if you were a Christian in the 1800s, they said it's the end times. You're sailing to a new land. It's the end times. World War I, it's the end times. World War II, it's the end times. Oh my gosh, Zelensky, it's the end times. It's always the end times for most Christians. I don't like to predict the end times. I'm not trying to be a false prophet or tell you who the Antichrist is. I don't know. So I let it all play out. We could be 1 year away, 10 years away, 1,000 years away, but I don't personally think that this is a new phenomenon. Christians always think it's the end times, but here's the truth. You're never as young as you are right now. You're older. As time goes on, you're always older. You're never going to be as young as you are right now. Now. Same thing with the end times. You're always going to be closer. But, there's no sense of trying to predict it, because there were Christian parents in 1910 that are like, come on, kids, it's the end times tomorrow. How many Christian kids grew up in the earlier 1900s and their parents told them every day, the rapture is coming any minute. That's always been a phenomenon, in my opinion. But I guess it could scare the crud out of your kids, or it could maybe prepare them. You're trying to scare them so they get right. I don't know. To each their own, but I don't like to predict it. Let's see. But in 1910, they had no digital currency in world government. You know better. Well, I'm telling you the truth. I've known people that said my grandparents and my great-grandparents told me that the rapture was coming every single day. That's the truth. If World War I is breaking out, and you do have, the U.S. currency for a while has been like a global currency for most parts, and the UN's been around for 60 years. So I get what you're saying, but it is true that people always think it's the end. And in 20, 30 years, you might be like, oh, this is a whole new level. $2 super chat. It's a weak super chat, but I'll read it anyway. Thank you. He said, yay, spewing all the Nazi stuff has me skeptical. Well, I think being skeptical is good. I don't think in this world you should ever, just fully idolize anybody, and it's good to play all angles out in your head. I think if you listen to the full context, he explained himself, but he also said it in a way where he knew that was going to get clipped, and he was going to get, as they say, all the smoke. I want all this. he knows what he's doing. So it's always good to be skeptical, but only time will tell where he goes, what he has in store, what his plans are, what his intentions are. Only time will tell, in my opinion. Someone said he's just trolling. Some people think so, but I think it's always okay to be skeptical, and go with your gut, trust who you want to trust. It's okay. Someone said when people go down a rabbit hole, they can kind of lose it. Yeah, I'm not going to say he's losing it, but I think two things. I think they've taken everything from him, so he just doesn't care. And yeah, I don't know. I guess everybody has some sort of like political correctness to him, to some sense, where you're like, yeah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I don't think he has any filters. Like, I think he's so free that he doesn't. Most people would be like, I shouldn't say that, but he feels like he could say anything, So I don't know. I think it's definitely like he doesn't have the same constraints or thought process as most people. And he's paving a path for himself, and he's going to have to deal with where that leads. But so far, I think for the most part, it's worked out in his career. So not that specific phrase, but what he's done. Someone said Russian bases got bombed. Yeah, I saw that. If you look at Russia on Twitter too, they tweeted out their embassy in Canada. They tweeted out that there's only two genders, and they posted a picture of Adam and Eve. And in my perspective, I think that's what's going on here is, yes, they invaded, obviously. But this idea that they were never poked, I think they got poked 100 times and then they invaded. But I think, I don't call the New World Order the New World Order now. I call it the liberal gay world order because I think it's more accurate. I think they want everyone to be rainbow flags and, it's like a bipartisan left wing, right wing. Like, let's go to Iran and make them gayer. Let's go to Russia and make them gayer. Like, everywhere that's not like super gay, they're trying to make gayer. And if you like that that could be considered a compliment. I'm not even just being hateful. It's just true. So Russia is like one of the last, Christian European countries that isn't like totally liberal, for lack of a better term. So the liberal rainbow people are like, yeah, everywhere they go, they have to like, oh, we're going to take out Putin and replace it with a woman who's going to wave rainbow flags and like print a bunch of money and do, left wing stuff. It's like, yeah, that'll really make Russia better. So, I'm not Ukrainian. I'm not Russian. It's not my fight, but it is my fight because they're sending 100 billion tax dollars there that they could have given to small businesses. Like, people don't realize how sick this country is. I think they've given almost $100 billion to Zelensky, like 80 billion, 70 billion. I don't even know what it is at this point, but I did the math back when it was only 50 or 60 billion. Every business that closed in the first couple of months of the pandemic, you could have given each of them $100,000. That's how much money they're printing and wasting. So this country is absolutely a scam. Like, our country is scamming us. They're embarrassing us. Like, if you could give $100 billion to foreign countries, you can give that money to small businesses to keep they're killing small businesses, in my opinion, purposely. Oh, everything's closed down except for Amazon and Walmart. Oh, that's a big coincidence. Everything's a coincidence until 10 years later. And then they admit they were wrong, but they already got what they wanted. It's like big pharma. When they get caught with something corrupt, it's 6 years down the line. They pay $2 billion fine, but they already made $20 billion. So who cares? The banks, we'll get bailed out. Like, they know they have no consequences. I think that's why Sam Bankman-Fried, I don't think he cares. He donated almost $1 billion to Democrats. So I think he feels great. Like, whatever, I'm just another scammer in a scammy country. Who cares? Like, so, God bless the people of Ukraine. God bless the people of Russia. But what a joke this war is. And like, the Zelensky guy is just like top scammer. But whatever, is what it is. Hopefully no more people get hurt. Someone said plus millions from GoFundMe donations. I don't know. Someone said, what do you think of Trump's Constitution statement? I see a lot of people freaking out about it. Personally, I just kind of ignore Trump now because he's a clown. But I read it. I could see both ways it being construed, but I've said this for years. I don't think Trump cares about anybody but himself. He doesn't care about the Constitution. He doesn't care about the First Amendment. He doesn't care about his supporters. I think he would throw any of his supporters in a burning pit to hell if it could save him 10 minutes in his life. I think he's a selfish person. So I think he's probably thinking, oh, the country's corrupt. What can I do to help me win? I'll suspend. I don't think he's not a principled person. I don't think he's a good person. And I don't say this from a left-wing perspective. I think the last 2 years really exposed who Trump was, and he's, instead of correcting his wrong, he's just spiraling in a selfish manner. So I could see how it could be construed the other way, but I think he will do anything that he thinks will help him, and I don't think he cares about any of his supporters. That's I think if you told him, dude, you could be president again if you take 10,000 of your biggest supporters and throw them in a pit to hell and they'll burn for eternity, I think he'd do it to save himself 4 more years. Like, I think a good leader cares about their people and understands that they're nothing without their people. I think Trump just demands loyalty, treats all of his top loyal supporters like garbage, doesn't stand up for anybody, but expects people to just keep bowing down for him. So I think his run is going to fade, not for anybody else's reason. The only one who could stop Trump is Trump. He's surrounded by a bunch of yes men, and anybody who tells him no is going to be ousted, and he wants everyone to just like worship him. So I see his run ending pretty soon, but I wish him the best, and I hope he snaps out of it. But I did read the comment. It was weird. He backtracked, but I don't think he really thinks about what he's saying. It's just like, what can I say that will help me? There's a group of corrupt liberal gay players whose ultimate goal is to fill their coffers. They have no regard for who they hurt or how. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Brian, for the super chat. I'm not 100% sure. I guess you were talking about when I was talking about the world order. But yeah, I mean, I don't even think everybody that's running the country is gay. I just think they use the rainbow flag as like a thing as well. But I don't know at this point who's gay or who's not. Like, I just think like any country that's not ends up going to war with America. It's like any country that's not, that doesn't have a central bank, mysteriously we're fighting them. Any country that's at war with Israel, mysteriously we're fighting them. Any country that challenges the liberal gay world orders, we're fighting with them. Like, I noticed the trend of like, they can't have a European country that's not gay enough. Like, they have to fight Russia. They have to get mad at except I guess if you're rich enough, then America doesn't bother you. Like Saudi Arabia, they just have too much money. This is really like a power thing. Like, America has all these principles, unless like LeBron James has all these principles. Unless it's China, well, I don't want to lose money. The NBA has all these principles. Unless it's Amazon, let's just blame Kyrie Irving for an Amazon documentary. They can post it because they're Amazon, but Kyrie Irving can't post it. We have all these LGBT values, like for all these countries who want to fight, but they never stand up to like rich Muslim countries because rich Muslim countries have money. But the poor Muslim countries, it's their fault. Like Eric Swalwell respects Qatar or whatever. I call it QAnon now because people made fun of me. It's like, yeah, he respects them because they have money and they're hosting the World Cup. But if you're a broke Muslim country, they don't respect your way of life. Like, people are so fake. At least if you really believe in like LGBT values, just be consistent with it. Don't say, oh, I hate him. Why do you hate America so much? It's one of the gayest places in the world. If you're gay, like Brittany Griner, you hate America, you go to Russia, now you're in jail, now you're crying. It's like, you should have loved America. America's one of the gayest places in the world. If you want to be gay, you can do anything in America. Like, no one even cares that much until you guys. So at least be consistent. Love the country you're from because it's super gay. Oh, you don't? What do you like then? You love Iran? You're fighting for rights there? Like, they don't make any sense. All I'm saying is like, no one's consistent, and this country respects people with money and power. If you're some random country in South America that has no money, the U.S. will walk all over you. But if you have like Saudi oil money, then all of a sudden you're our best friend. And they're all standing there holding some weird like fortune teller ball. Did you see that picture where like Trump and all them, they're all like holding some sort of like Zoltar ball, and they're like, I don't like, do you know what I'm talking about? It's some crystal ball. They're like, yes, we all have oil money. We're all friends. Like, like what is that ball? The oil money ball? The yes, we don't agree with your values, but you have enough oil money that we'll pretend to ball. Whatever. It's just funny. Like, I'm not even mad at it. Like, you can hear the tone. I'm not like angry. Like, I get it. People with money get away with stuff. Like, it's just how the world works. It's not fair. It's just, if you don't have a central bank or enough money, they're going to regime change you mysteriously or something. I don't know. Someone said, "Did I watch Died Suddenly?" I've said a bunch of times I don't feel like watching it. I'm not downplaying it. People could watch it on Rumble. I get the gist of what it's about. I don't want to sit for 2 hours and watch something I already know. I get it. I understand. I don't want to subject myself to like a bunch of like, you know, I get it. Injuries exist. Things are happening. It doesn't interest me to sit there for 2 hours and see something I already know. I don't have time for that. I don't want to. Doesn't sound fun or enjoyable or relaxing. It sounds like the opposite. Not saying you can't watch it. It's just nothing in there is gonna like. I get the gist of it. I don't doubt it. The end for me. I don't care. Someone said, and here's the thing. It's like I don't like either side of this debate. I personally didn't get the COVID vaccine, but I don't like the side that's like everything bad's happening, and then the side that nothing's happening. Like the truth is somewhere in the middle. The truth is there are side effects to all vaccines. That's the truth. There are side effects to the COVID vaccines, but not everybody's experiencing the worst thing, or else you'd know about it. I would say a majority of people are doing fine, and that's the truth. So I get both sides of it. It's like they're covering up injuries. That's true. They're covering up the VAERS reporting. That's true. This is mRNA technology that's brand new, and the long-term trials of the people got it. That's true. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, everybody's getting hurt. Some people are. It's obvious. It's just like, I'm not trying to revel in this topic forever. Like, some people are like, everyone's going to die. Like, that's not true. And then some people are like, there's no problems with it at all. That's also not true. I get the whole debate about it, but like, it's become a toxic narrative in general, where a lot of people that didn't get the shot are trying to just treat everybody who did like a piece of garbage. If someone treated you bad, I'm not saying you have to forgive them completely. You could be like, you treated me like a subhuman because I didn't get the shot. I'm all for, sticking it to people who treated me wrong. But as far as like every random person who just got the thing, I think most of them are going to be fine. Like, I think that's obvious at this point. So, the human body is strong. It can overcome a lot of stuff, but like with everything, how you eat, what you inject in yourself can have an effect. So I don't want to spend the next 5 years of my life trying to make everybody who got the shot feel like garbage, because I don't think that's right. And I wouldn't like it, but I didn't get it. And I get that they're lying about the VAERS reporting and what's going on. But, I think there's toxic people on both sides of the debate. And I'm personally like over it. I get it. I understand. I don't need to watch a 2-hour fear-mongering documentary about it. But if you don't know that information in the video, you can watch it and, I'm sure it'll blow your mind. But it's just like, at this point, I don't know. It is what it is. Someone said fentanyl doesn't kill every junkie that shoots it. Yeah, for sure. But if you take too much, it will. So someone said my wife got it. She's fine. She's upset. Yeah, half my family got it. Not everybody, but it's like everybody in my family who got it is fine, thank God. And, I'm not going to spend the next 5 years just trying to make them feel like garbage, because that's mean and messed up. And, I'm sure you've done things in your life, like gotten certain shots when you were younger or in your mid, like what, like it's, you're actually trying to hurt somebody if you're trying to put in their mind that they're going to be so bad. If you got it, I think, or you didn't get it, you need to have a positive mindset, because I think it could alter your reality. Jennifer said, oh, wow, you're being a hypocrite. You literally have talked about it for 2 years straight. What I'm saying, though, is I never made people feel horrible for getting it or not getting it. I didn't get it. I never told people to get it. I never promoted it. I told people the truth about how big pharma works. I always said the truth, but I've never once here sat on camera and tried to make people who feel it like garbage. I've never done it. Of course I did the reporting on it. Of course I told people the truth. Of course I warned people. Of course I did everything in my book that I could do to show people the information that was getting suppressed. But you can't find one time that I tried to make someone feel like garbage for getting it. I made people feel like garbage who treated me like garbage. I made people feel like garbage for mandating it or treating me like a subhuman or trying to take away my rights or freedom. And I stuck it to every single person that was trying to treat me like a second-tier citizen. But I've never sat here and tried to make people feel bad for their decision, because at the end of the day, we all have to live with our choices, and how you treat your mind and your body will alter, your reality, in my opinion. So I think the human body is very strong and has a lot of bounce back. And I don't like the people that are just saying, oh, everybody who got it's going to die. Like, that's no way to treat people. I've never once did that. Someone said I introduced us to Carrie Mullis. I did a lot of work on it, and I'm not backing off it. I'm just saying I've talked about VAERS reporting. I've talked about the cover-ups. It's just I've never wanted to make people who got it feel horrific for getting it as far from health concerns. Like, I get what's going on. Everybody does. I've also said that I think people who got it, like, also kind of screwed over people in the sense of now they're going to mandate it easier. If people say I'm conservative and I'm going to get the shot and I'm going to, I kind of got annoyed at people who said, oh, I'm with you, I'm standing, but then they're going to sports games and they're going to, oh, I'm with you, Anomaly, but I'm going to go on a cruise with my vaccine and get my special privileges. Well, then you're really not with me. You kind of left me hanging, and thank God people didn't keep getting them to the tune of what they wanted, or else the mandates would still be here for the people who didn't get it. So, you could say I'm a hypocrite, but you're just like triggered. I guess you want me to just sit and scream for the next 3 years, but you could think what you want. I've been consistent. I've been annoyed at people who left me hanging. I'm just saying, from a health perspective, I made a decision for myself. Other people made a decision for themselves. I don't agree with what everyone did, but I've never once sat here and tried to make people feel like garbage health-wise, because I think if you did get a shot or you got 2 shots, you can rehabilitate yourself. You can take certain actions that, gives yourself a better opportunity. The worst thing you could do is sit and think that you're hurt for the next 10 years of your life, because now your mind is becoming weaker. So if you love somebody in your family who got the shot, if they treated you like garbage for not getting it, you have every right to be upset. But if you love that person, the worst thing you could do is just sit there and tell them how unhealthy they are and how they should feel like garbage, because then they're going to feel like garbage, and you making them feel like garbage about their decision is going to affect their life. So I did everything I could for my family members to tell them the truth about what was going on, because I was hoping personally they didn't get it. But then when people didn't listen to me or they rejected the information I shared, after that point, I've never harped on it with my family and said, you should feel like garbage about it. So someone said, dude's a cuck. I mean, you could lie to yourself, but if you love your family and they got it and you just sit and be like, oh, you should feel like garbage about it for the next 10 years, you're making them less healthy. You're hurting them just as much or more than what you claim you're trying to help them from. Like, it doesn't help. So I don't think I'm being hypocritical. I don't think I'm switching up. I've always reported it. It's fine to talk about, but you asked me if I want to watch the documentary. I get the gist of it. I don't feel like watching a 2-hour documentary of what I already know and have researched for the last year. I get it. I don't want to live in that reality for the rest of my life. Like, yes, you could talk about it. You could report on it. You could feel the way you feel. You could make your family members feel like garbage. If they made you feel like garbage, you can send it back. You don't have to forgive them, but that's just how I feel about from the health perspective of it. Let's see. I wish you would keep the door open to going on Tim Pool and debating. I would consider having a conversation. Oh, you said I'm not calling you a cuck. I'm calling someone else a cuck. That's fine. I mean, you can call whoever you want a cuck, but read some positive comments. Well, I'm going to talk about the Tim Pool comment. I wish you would leave the door open, he said to the Tim Pool. I'm willing to have a conversation or debate with Tim. Here's the thing, though. I'm not going to his show anymore because I don't like how they reacted when Ye walked out. But also, he got his thing got shot yesterday. I just don't like the whole vibe there. And I've always felt that way, and it was my intuition, but I wanted to get, on a podcast with somebody that I consider very boring and unimpressive, and, get a bunch of followers who are like, oh, this guy's way cooler than that loser. But, I was always open to going, but then his staff treated me like garbage, and that was a sign. And then I was willing to forgive him after he gave that weak apology, which was fine. But then, the way they treated Ye when he walked out and their hypocrisy, I don't like the whole vibe there. So do I want to debate him? Sure. But I don't want to go to his smelly beanie castle that gets shot at, because, I don't justify violence against him. That's evil. Whoever did that's terrible. But I just think the whole vibe of that place just seems off. Like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to travel all the way across the country, drive an hour to go to a place that I don't feel comfortable. And I don't think it's just the fact that Tim doesn't, and Luke probably don't like me now. It's just like, just to be honest, like, I know a lot of people have been on the podcast. Nobody really feels that comfortable there. Like, it's not very, welcoming, and his vibes are kind of weird. So I'll debate them, but I'm not going to their dirty, smelly beanie castle. I don't like, the whole vibe seems off, and how they treat people is weird. So, God bless them, but I'll debate them somewhere else in a public forum at a Minds event or something. Not, I'm not going to the middle of the country to their, beanie bunker. Someone said you totally burnt the bridge with Tim Pool. I was love to see you on there. Well, I purposely burned it after the Ye interview because I just felt like they were being total hypocrites. They were trying to say he couldn't talk about. This was before the Alex interview, but what really I purposely burned it when Luke was like, they're gatekeeping, they're lying, their logic makes no sense, and then he's like, oh, I think he's damaged by drugs. So I purposely burned it at that point. I'm like, you look like a meth head. So, I don't want to be around people that are that fake and phony anyway. I don't care how much it would benefit me. Like after how they acted after Ye walked out and they showed who they really were, I don't want to be around those people. I don't trust them. I don't like them. I don't think they're honest. I think they're just there for the power and money. They're gatekeeping. They're pretending to be stupid so they can save their industry connections. It doesn't sound like a good time. If it was in a neutral place or somewhere that was like enjoyable to go, it'd be fine. But to travel that far, drive an hour, and have to be in a beanie bunker with a bunch of people I don't like or trust in a location that I don't even feel comfortable at because of the vibe, I purposely burned the bridge. I don't want to go there. If I wanted to go there, I could have just shut my mouth and gone. But I don't want to harp on this too long because people are probably bored. But after his apology, I was super grateful that he apologized. But if you really watch his apology, it's such like a narcissistic, douchey, fake apology. I appreciated it because I'm glad he told the truth. He told me that they messed up and that she booked it wrong and that he wasn't sure of how it happened. He said he didn't know me. That's like, it was a fake apology, but I appreciated it anyway. I don't need him. I get who he is. So that was hard for him to even do that. But it was just funny. I pointed out in the apology, he said it was good for humanity. Like, I'm doing this because it's so good for humanity. Like, he's a fake person. We wouldn't get along. He's a fake person. He shouts over his guests. He wears a beanie. He always acts surprised. I'm just over it. Like, I wear a beanie too, but I actually show my hair sometimes. It's just like, I accepted the apology, but when I first watched it, I'm like, dude, this guy is such like a bad person. Like I don't even care, but you could just feel like, yeah, hey, I'm really like, I don't even know who Anomaly is. I mean, he'd make a good guess, but I don't know who he is. It wasn't me. I have no, no accountability, doesn't know anything, doesn't know who's being booked, doesn't care. Like, has to do with I'm doing this for humanity. Bro, no one thinks you're doing it for humanity. Like, just, even after the apology, I'm like, that was a weak apology, but I don't care. He didn't even have to do that, but I know why he's doing it. And then the next day they just treated Ye like so weird and so fake. And I'm just like, I purposely burned the bridge. I don't want to go there. I don't want to hang out with them. I don't trust them. I don't like them. I don't think they're honest. I don't think they're interested in having a real conversation. I think he's interested in reading headlines, lining his own pockets, keeping his industry connections, and screaming over his guests whenever they say something honest so he can control the narrative. It doesn't sound like a fun trip for me. Like I came to the conclusion that I just don't want to hang out with them. So someone said too late. It's not too late. I purposely did it. I didn't, and it was worth it. I mean, I said the truth. So, can we move on? Yeah, sure. Someone said the best live show is here. Thank you, Paul. It's unfortunate what Facebook's doing, but it's like they don't show people the live, but then it'll get a lot of views after. So I don't really mind. I used to have like a couple thousand, but now, people can't see it, but then they can see it later, and that's fine. It doesn't matter when they see it. Yeah, it's all good though. People will see the stream. The streams are getting like almost 100,000 per. So it's not like the numbers are really down. They're just different. Debate in public. I'll debate them sometime. Let's see. Every single U.S. politician that we know is compromised by globalist elites or Israel lobbyists. I mean, I would say Thomas Massey's not. Ron Paul isn't. What's her name? McKinney. Cynthia McKinney spoke about that. There's a few that aren't, but most are. Let's see. One or two more, and then I'm going to take off. Appreciate you guys. Someone said, I feel like Ye's a baby for walking out. Everybody's entitled to their perception. Everybody's allowed to feel a certain way. He's definitely sensitive and didn't want to continue, but you're entitled to your opinion. Thank you, Valerie. Appreciate you on Facebook. Thank you, Quick. I appreciate you. Someone said died suddenly is propaganda. I have a question about the doc because I haven't seen it. Is it the same guy who made the like snake venom documentary? Because remember that they got this one doctor to be like, it's, COVID snake venom. And I'm like, that sounds like it's not true. I don't like it doesn't exist. It does exist. It's a virus. It's the flu. It's snake venom. Like everybody's got their own perspective on it. And I'm not saying you can't say something, but to me, the whole snake venom documentary seemed like a total misdirection. And no one talks about it anymore because I don't think it was ever true. And that guy, like doctor or whatever, seemed full of it, in my opinion. But it's like, this is how the truther movement is. You could say anything and everyone believes it. I'm not saying that it's not true, like that this documentary is not true because I haven't seen it. I think elements of it, but like that snake venom one, to me, that was such an obvious lie. And everybody fell for it. Like, you got to watch it. Should I just make a documentary or something and then everyone will believe whatever I say if I come out with like criticism of Fauci or something? Like I could be like, the vaccine's secretly coffee and the virus is secretly like from a whale, and like people will be like, it sounds true because I feel like that's how a lot of people are. I'm not saying this new one's not true, but I don't know. That snake venom one did not seem real. Kirstie Alley just died. That's sad. I think she was pretty honest. She was pretty honest celebrity from what I saw. Ye walked out because well, that's all good. You're wrong. You also have a large head. I do have a big head. That's why my dreamwear.com beanies are, pretty wide because I have a fat head. My head is just logistically large. So, I had to make sure the beanie wasn't too scrunchy around my ears. So I made wide beanies. So you can get one at dreamwear.com. Also, I have 11 signed hats. Somebody bought one yesterday or today, but I have 11 signed hats, only 11 on the dreamwear.com. These are like an official 12. I thought it would be neat to do 2 of one, 4 of one, 6 of one, make them different prices. And you're holding a part of history. Number 1, number 2, number 3. These are the only 12 official ones. And I don't sign that much stuff. I've maybe signed a few hats this year, but these are the, like, people have signed hats. That's cool. It's not the official one. I'm trying to make it pretty rare. So if you think that would be an interesting gift, or you want to support the show on a higher level, people always say, how do you support the show? That's a way you could do 2 in 1. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to pop off the stream, but you can support and get a rare piece of history. Someone said my head's big and veiny. I mean, let's not go there. Battle Elf is here. Is that the star of the YouTube chat now? Battle Elf? Battle Elf is here. There's always some stars in the chats. Thoughts on Bill Gates and farmlands? I mean, Bill Gates is Bill Gates. I definitely, I do not trust like anything he does, and I don't buy it. So him buying the farmlands, and he's involved in one of those like, fake meat companies, and I don't trust the thing he does. So that's kind of, I'd much rather some random farmer own the farmland than Bill Gates. That's for sure. Thank you, CD. All right, 2 or 3 more comments and then we'll roll out. Someone said you're very good-looking, Anomaly. Good-looking? I hope I do have good luck. I know what you meant, but thank you. Let's see. Why is there so much mystery, censorship, and different contradicting things about World War II? Someone said. Well, I think there's a lot of censorship because it's the topic in history that, cannot be questioned. It's actually illegal in Germany. If you question World War II, they'll throw you in prison. I'm a defender of free speech because I think people realize in America, but like Canada, Germany, they don't have free speech. You can go to prison for speaking. So speaking, like questioning things. So, I think it is the part of all human history that cannot be questioned. And I think if you really want to know why you can't, I think you have to tell the truth about it. Like in my perspective, you can't criticize Allah in a Muslim country because Muslims run the country. And when Muslims run a country, it's their religion, right? It's their religion to not criticize Allah. And that's fine. In America, I think it's safe to say the individuals that don't exist run the country. And when you say they run the country, they say it's hate speech, and they don't want you to question a certain event. And it has so much power in this country because they have so much power in this country. So they've decided that that's the one thing that you can't question in history. But of course, I mean, I think that's just the truth. I'm not being hateful about it, but you can't question a law in a Muslim country because Muslims run the country. You can't question World War II in America because people have created it, or they've had an old religion where that's the most important topic in their entire religious history, something that happened 80 years ago. So it's not to be questioned or talked about. And, same with like certain LGBT stuff. It's like, that's our new religion in this country. It's like in my opinion, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but to be more accurate, we should just replace the American flag with like one gay flag and one Israeli flag. And I'm not being rude or hateful. I'm just saying that's more accurate because that's what our country is based on. It's not based on, you can criticize America, but you can't criticize that country. You can criticize Jesus in America, but you can't criticize the rainbow flag. So why even pretend like this country is what it founded on? We might as well just get a more honest flag so people realize. But I'm sure that would be considered hate speech or something too. But I think it's just the truth. And the closer you get to the truth, people freak out. And I'm going to have a great discussion about it. I'm sure the guy I'm going to debate, like he would not like that I said that, because he was even mad at what Dave Chappelle said. Like, his jokes were going to hurt people because like he's telling this trope that people own stuff, but they do own stuff. But the reason they own stuff is so they don't own stuff. Like, it's this whole rabbit hole of like, you can't even say that it's happening. And I think it's pretty telling because in American history, the First Amendment was there for unpopular speech and, criticism of any government, any group. And now we're building a new country where there is certain things you just can't say at a corporate level or a government level. And, even simply noticing what it is will put you under heat of getting in trouble. Like, I've noticed that in the NBA, you can question certain things and you can't question it's just a fact. If you're in the NBA, you can question white people, you can question George Washington, you can question America, you can question Trump, you can even question Biden if you do it properly. You could question a lot of stuff, but in the NBA, you can't question the rainbow flag and you can't question the individuals that also don't exist. If you question the rainbow people, you get a fine. Multiple players, Anthony Edwards and Jokic, have been fined for anti-gay speech. And Kyrie Irving just lost a multi-million-dollar Nike deal for questioning the individuals who don't exist. I'm not being hateful. That's the religion of the NBA. They do BLM, left-wing stuff. You can't talk, and don't talk about that other stuff. I'm not saying it from a hateful perspective, but it's just like, that's the culture of the NBA. Left-wing stuff, gay stuff, never criticize China, never criticize the rainbow flag, and never criticize the individuals. That's just like, is that not what it is? Is that hate speech what I said? You can hear the tone it's just like funny to me. I don't play in the NBA, so I don't really care. I'm not getting paid $20 million to not talk about things and just play basketball. Like, it's not my life. So why, like, it is what it is. It's not like I'm oppressed and I feel so bad. I don't care. I say what I want and I mean what I say, and life is good. So I don't really care. Someone said they hijacked the rainbow. I mean, Jesus had it, and then the Irish took it to play their little games with like the leprechaun, and then the gays took it. There's a lesson there. Don't give up the rainbow because somebody's going to snatch it. So I think Christians rocked with the rainbow for a while. Then somehow, I don't know how the Irish stole the rainbow, but maybe they played the game of like, oh, we're Christians too. Let us just borrow the rainbow real quick. Next thing you know, every leprechaun logo has a rainbow. The Irish, I'm not saying all Irish people are sneaky because I like Irish people, but it was kind of sneaky to steal the rainbow from the Christians. But, oh, let me just borrow real quick. Now you guys got it. You're on every slot machine, every cereal box with the rainbow. And then, the LGBTs came in and were like, yo, that rainbow looks kind of fire. Maybe we should take it from the leprechauns and the Irish. And maybe Irish people are too nice, but they just gave up the rainbow way too fast. Like, you guys had a great run through the 1900s with the rainbow. Why give it up? Like, probably Irish people were afraid of looking like anti-homophobe or something. They're like, fine, you could borrow the rainbow for a few weeks, just give it back. And then, the LGBTs never gave it back. And now they own the rainbow. So the question is, who gets the rainbow next? Who do you think deserves the rainbow next? Should he give it back to God? Should the Irish take it back? Perhaps another group will come along and repurpose it. I don't know. I'm staying out of it. I understand there's a lot of, I'm like, listen, rainbows are beautiful. They're all the colors when it rains in the sun. It's a beautiful thing. There may or may not be a pot of gold at the end. I've never gone there. Someone said Anomaly has dad jokes. I have canceled dad jokes. So this is a dad joke you tell if you want to get if you want to lose your job, you tell this dad joke. Who gets the star? I mean, depends which star. There's stars on the ground in Hollywood. There's obviously other stars. Someone said you're funny sometimes. I agree. I also have a big head though, which is why I make thick beanies for big heads. There's a lot of big heads out here. So you think you're taking a shot to my ego. Oh, Anomaly has such a big head, but really what you're doing is radicalizing the big head community. What you don't realize is there's hundreds of men and women with also large craniums that also feel oppressed. And they're like, I have a big head too. So what? I was born this way. What are you going to do? Tell me to shrink my head? I've always had a large round head. That's why when I played soccer, never mind. I'm going to take off, guys. God bless. What happened to the rabbi YouTube video I posted on Twitter? It disappeared because I just deleted it. I told people I wasn't going to keep it up. You can find it, but you just got to search for it in the right ways. I would say, DuckDuckGo or YouTube or BitChute or Rumble is your friend. I don't know where. It's also on YouTube somewhere, but his name was Rabbi Yaron Levin or something like that. So if you search the right keywords, you'll be able to find it. It's like a treasure trove. I might post it again to my Telegram. I just don't feel like it's Christmas time. I'm trying to relax. I don't feel like getting in trouble right now. So, I found it. Nobody sent it to me. I just somehow found it one time. So, if you look hard enough and you're good at searching, you can find it. But it's like people kept asking me where the Ye interview is. I'm like, just come on. Is it that hard to find? You go to Alex Jones's website, it's there. So someone said Anomaly's beanies probably smelly too. Come on, don't compare me to the smelly beanie boys. I wash my beanie. I hand wash it with holistic soap every night to make sure I don't turn into a smelly beanie boy. But appreciate you guys. Have a good one, and I'll be back soon.